Regular Show, the cartoon that defined the 2010s of Cartoon Network, alongside these other two goated shows. The question is, why did it slap so hard? See, there is a specific narrative framing that the show used that was more unique than Adventure Time or Gumball. Unlike those other shows, Regular Show centered on characters who were adults instead of kids. In Adventure Time, for example, Finn starts the series at 12 years old, and the audience basically grows up alongside him. The show begins as whimsical, chaotic fun before naturally evolving into deeper and more mature themes over time. Those of you who say you didn't like this about the show, I can't understand why. I guess you just like shows where it's the same shit every time, and there's little to no growth from our characters. Argue with the wall. So again, what did Regular Show do differently? Mordecai and Rigby were in their 20s, working at the park. In 2010, I was 7, and I couldn't even grasp the concept of being 20 and having a job. So to balance that, these two were straight dumbasses and acted like kids. But when I watch it now as someone in my 20s, I find it a lot more relatable, along with it being even funnier. I mean, think about it. The majority of cartoons on Cartoon Network rarely focus on adults. On top of that, it had a formulaic structure, and I mean that in a good way. Mordecai and Rigby get told to do something, they try to find a clever way to avoid or complete that task, things escalate dramatically, they get Skips' help, who's always like,
I've seen this before.
And somehow things always go back to normal. This wasn't always the case for every episode, but they pretty much follow that same pattern for the most part, and it hit every single time. But naturally, when a show has an anthology structure, that is to say that you don't need to watch every episode to get what was going on in a specific episode, you're gonna run out of ideas. So that's when the writers created the Space Arc, where the gang is sent to space to combat anti-pops. The show was still fine, but it lost its initial charm for me. Despite this, having the main focus be on pops and everything to do with the ending was near perfection. It was extremely emotional and truly felt like the end of an era. And now, almost 10 years later, we have a revival of the show. When I first heard this was happening, I was really not down at all. Most of you guys wouldn't know, but one of my first ever videos on YouTube was me discussing the inherent nostalgia problem affecting many of the media we love. And I fully thought this was gonna be just that, nostalgia pandering. I mean, why bring back a show that had such a complete, coherent, and content ending? Money? Off. So full disclosure, I was not excited for this. And then the trailer arrived. Now, I wasn't the only one who thought something looked really off.
I sense a trickery here.
The animation looked extremely stiff, a far cry from the fluid animation of the original. I was already extremely hesitant about the idea of the revival, but seeing how weird the animation now looked, I was almost out the door. The concept, however, was interesting to me. For one, the title hits and calls back to the last shot of the entire show, Pops watching back a Regular Show on a tape. On top of that, the creators and voice actors confirmed that this new show was not going to ruin the ending by any means, but instead they would explore untold stories during the original show's run. That gave me a bit more hope. And with the first 5 episodes now having been released, let's go through the new Regular Show and see whether or not this revival was a good or bad idea. Right off the rip, I can safely say the first episode was great. The show could have easily just started off with nostalgic Mordecai and Rigby adventures, but instead, we follow Pops chilling in heaven. There are a myriad of callbacks to previous episodes with the appearance of Jonathan Kimball from Excellent, Leon from Benson Be Gone, and many more. The premise is that Pops' memories, in the form of that tape, breaks and he tries to find a new one. After all, the poor guy misses his friends. In regular fashion, things escalate as he finds an area where various memories are stored. The cool part is, once he finds the box that stores his memories, it's completely empty. But that's when he sees the aforementioned lost tapes buried deep inside the shelf, and thus begins the show. Now, the comedy here is exactly like the original, and I would be lying if I said I didn't give off a few nose sniffs. Overall, it's a clever way to explain why the show even exists in the first place. The question I have is, are they going to explain this a bit more later, toward the end of the season? Is there more to these lost tapes? Or are they simply just memories Pops can't remember? I'm hoping for the latter, but I wouldn't be surprised if they explored this more in a future episode. So with that great intro, how does the rest of the show fare?
We are back, baby. We are fucking back. We're back. Classic. We are back.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Wasn't this guy just shitting on the idea of nostalgia? Let me just explain. As you'd recall, after the original show ended, J.G. Quintel made another show called Close Enough, and I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't a fan. I only watched the first season, but it just didn't hit for me. It clearly had the bones of Regular Show, only this time, instead of having adult jokes sprinkled rarely and sparingly, the entire show's humor was built around that, and it just wasn't funny to me. So when I heard Regular Show was coming back, I was so scared that they might inject a bunch of Close Enough, unfunny adult humor into the show. Thankfully, this isn't the case at all. A big reason why this show did so well back in the day was because of them pushing the boundaries of what was allowed on Cartoon Network.
Now, how in the H are we gonna fix this S?
And I'm happy to say they follow that exact structure. Mordecai and Rigby are as stupid as ever.
You probably shouldn't have told us about the luau.
Yeah, how are we supposed to not crash the cart with the luau coming up? Luau. Stop that!
Benson is just as pissed as ever, and Skips, Actually, Skips has barely appeared, but I'm sure that won't be the case in the coming episodes. But wait, what about that animation problem? Yeah, I won't lie to you, it's very inconsistent. Some parts look completely fine and close enough to the original fluidity, but then others just look way off. It was distracting for the first 2 episodes, but after that, it didn't become much of a problem for me. I imagine though that this isn't a stylistic or conscious decision by the animators, but most likely because of the fact that it's been almost 10 years since they worked on the show, and modern animation programs are just a lot more different than they were. Oh, and leave a comment down below your all-time favorite regular show episode, and leave a like and subscribe if you're new around here. I make video essays like this almost every week. My favorite episodes might just be Exit 9B, Part 1 and Part 2, as boring as that might sound. Or maybe Terror Tales of the Park 1, that was a banging episode. Now, when it comes to the new show, the nap spot is probably my favorite of the 5. This is because it seems the most similar to the original show. Muscleman's pranks go too far, and he keeps telling the pair that the reason he isn't tired of doing this is because he has a secret nap spot. Such a stupid premise that I was all for. When they do find it, they find themselves being transported to another dimension, or nap level. Eerily similar to an old regular show episode, which I'll touch on later. But what I love is seeing Muscleman openly tell the pair he loves them. Now, I could see one arguing that that's really on the nose, but for me, I don't think so. It humanizes Muscleman a lot more for me. The original show definitely did this too, but let's be honest, he also had plenty of completely unhinged and obnoxious moments messing with everyone around him. That's why I like those brief moments where he drops the act and lets his guard down for a second. Now, the one episode I kept seeing early reviewers talk about was the infamous Eileen and Margaret episode, and I can safely say that I really liked it. These two rarely, if ever, got any solo episodes in the original show, and to see them having their own wacky adventure without Mordecai and Rigby was refreshing to see. Still has the usual batshit action-packed insanity and a funny ending.
It was crazy!
Man, I wish we got to do cool stuff like that.
I truly hope we get more episodes with Margaret, because looking back now, she definitely needed more fleshing out as a character, rather than just being that girl Mordecai liked. Then we got the bubble tea episode. Now, I hate bubble tea, so I related to Benson more than anyone else in this episode.
Why are there balls in my mouth?
Now, I've seen other reviews bashing the show for being unoriginal and too similar to the original, and I can see why that is and isn't a problem. It's clear then that a lot of the episodes are very, very similar to the original show. Skips' luau was pretty much the same plot as Best Burger in the World. Benson forbids the two from going to eat a delicious meal because they kept slacking off. Blade Games is sort of similar to Think Positive, but only in the sense of Benson watching some videos to try and be a better boss. Otherwise, the rest is pretty original. Nap Spot, however, is actually so similar to Sugar Rush. The way the gang falls deeper into these nap levels is similar to how they're transported to higher sugar planes in that episode. Boba Tea episode is kind of similar to Party Pete, but to be honest, he's reaching! And then we have the obligatory food episodes. While I can see the sentiment that this is a criticism, I, for some odd reason, don't really mind. Yeah, the plots are similar, but IMO, they're different enough that I can still get enjoyment out of them. It's also been almost 10 years, so yes, nostalgia plays a huge part. It's undeniably one of the most powerful feelings there is. And if a show comes back pretty much the exact same way you remember it, but with new plots of course, it's gonna hit. But you see, as I mentioned earlier, this show could have been much worse. It could have followed the path of Close Enough, with overused, unfunny adult humor, but it doesn't. It has that same regular show flavor that made millions fall in love with the show. So honestly, it's amazing to see that the creators have not lost sight of the heart of the show. But then there's the other side. The problem that can arise from a revival like this is potentially getting another Simpsons situation, where things will get too repetitive to the point where the show just becomes boring. And I would be lying if I said I didn't have that worry. Gumball's new show sorta had that problem, where a lot of the episodes seemed very similar to the original show. So how do you exactly combat this issue? Revivals are a double-edged sword. It's hard to strike that balance between respecting the original show and evolving it. Now, I'm not sure if this has been confirmed. I feel like I read it somewhere. I might just be experiencing the Mandela effect though. But I would honestly love to see some episodes taking place in the future, when Mordecai and Rigby are married and have families now. I really want to see how the two actually take on being parents after having their first kid, for example. These could be really interesting situations to explore and defeat the whole samey problem. Then, of course, you could always have your insane action-packed moments tacked on during those plots. I mean, I for sure want to know what Mordecai's wife is actually like. She didn't even speak in the finale. Overall, The Lost Tapes has had a great start. I know there are only 5 episodes out currently, but from what I've seen, it hits all the right spots, and for once, I'm completely okay with a revival that hasn't lost sight of what made it special. I just hope the animation gets fixed somehow. What did you guys think of The Lost Tapes? What was your favorite episode so far? Leave a comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts, and leave a like if you enjoyed. If you're new around here, please subscribe. I make video essays like this almost every week, and as I said, I love analyzing characters. Follow all my socials down below, join my Patreon if you want to support me further, and I want to thank you for watching.